Hey everyone! For today's video I'll be talking about how you can make your art stand out more. Because there's a lot of competition out there in the art community and everyone wants to be unique and successful with their work, of course. Which can be really hard. And that's why I want to give you a few tips in order to help you get out there with your drawings. So let's do this. Tip number 1. Study real life and references. So no matter your art style, always use a reference for studying. Even if you want to draw from imagination mostly, you should consider using references for your drawings. Our imagination is built upon what we observe on a daily basis. So if we haven't even established our fundamentals when it comes to drawing, like to name only a few, lighting, shadows, reflection, the human anatomy, compositions or proportions, it's a lot more difficult to create something right off our mind. Only then, if we understand how objects, humans or animals look like in real life and how they respond to light and all those other things, then we can begin implementing that into our work and potentially find our art style through experimenting with these fundamental things. Tip number 2. Master your sketch. This is very important because the sketch you make, no matter which medium you're using, like it could be, for example, watercolors or oil painting, it's also fundamental if you want to make great art. It's there to guide you through your work process, and it can make things a lot easier if it's made correctly. So don't stress too much in this phase, as it can really step up your game for creating a good looking end result. Tip number 3. Pay attention to your backgrounds. I often struggled with choosing the right backgrounds for my work, and I still do now. And yeah, I believe that I've only recently understood the power backgrounds can truly have in drawings. For instance, with the piece you're seeing me draw on screen right now. If you take a look at it, you can clearly see how the environment is creating a story for this image. Even if someone isn't familiar with the character and the story that's presented, the mood of the painting is still quite obvious and very catching to one's eye. That's because the background itself delivers a very strong message and story. There are dusty and dark clouds, in contrast to a very bright sky. And though it's still kept simple, everyone can start imagining the situation, how the dust may lay in the air, or how the character could feel like in this moment. There's room for imagination, and that can be powerful with art, and that's what you really want to implement in a lot of your drawings, because it's really powerful, as I said, and can really make your painting stand out. Tip number 4. Master face expressions. So, as I just said, being able to tell a story with your art is a great skill you want to implement into your own paintings, and it can really change a lot of things. It can catch the attention of others and make your art even more purposeful and make you more successful even with your drawings. And thus, using the right face expressions for your character can intensify that. I mean, of course, you don't always have to draw portraits, maybe you're only drawing objects, but for the ones who really want to get into portraits, that's a very fascinating thing to a lot of people, because, for example, if you want to present your art on social media, people would always look at pretty faces, and there you can really tell a story. And with my drawing, one may be able to emphasize with Black Widow just through looking at her face, and that's something to consider as well, because it's just the face expressions that give it away. Tip number 5. Contrast is key. If you really want your drawing to stand out, you've got to play around with values, opacity and contrast, because your art can look very flat if you don't. My tip for that is to study other successful artists' drawings, or again, take inspiration from real life and references. Strong light and shadows can really make a painting pop because of the depth that's created. And oftentimes with artists who've already understood that concept, you can really start seeing how their work comes to life. And so feel encouraged to study others' art and study from real life objects, because it's all a journey, and as long as you don't start copying anyone, it's fine and you're really just progressing. Tip number 6, don't settle, keep progressing. So this is my last tip for you today, and this one's important because as I feel like every artist will eventually come to the point of wanting to stay in their comfort zone and stop progressing with their art. Even if you found your style, you're happy with where you're at, and which is obviously awesome, but you could still just settle down in that comfort zone, and that's not what you want to do, because you still shouldn't stop there and don't challenge yourself as an artist. A few things that could help with that is trying out new mediums, aiming to finish a drawing a little faster than last time, or bettering weaknesses, which could be anything, like for example lighting, and maybe you want to get better at proportions, and well, then you should focus on that. But yeah, you probably get my point. Just keep progressing, but also be proud of yourself for what you've achieved, because no matter where you're at, it's always a journey. Even if you start at 0, everyone starts at 0, so keep that in mind and don't just always compare yourself to all these big artists and think you're worth less because you're not at their level yet. The video is coming to an end now, and I just wanted to thank you so much for watching. I honestly appreciate every single person who's watching this, because as of now I'm really no one on the internet. And if I can just help out one single person, I'm so grateful. And if you happen to be this one person, please consider subscribing for more future art tips like these and other art related stuff. And yeah, if you're already at it, maybe head over to my Instagram. It's @art_by_Lisa_Marie. And yes, I did pronounce my name in German because, you know, I'm from Germany, so why not? Yeah, so I do post all of my artworks on there, and there's almost always additional content in my stories. I interact with my followers, I answer every comment, I always try to answer every DM and all of that stuff. I do Q&As from time to time and have these amazing polls in my stories, so you can always check that out. And yeah, if that sounds good to you, go do that, check it out, whatever you want to do. But yeah, so for now, see you then.